Yo, 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 what is rolling? You are tuning in for a brand new haul video, aka junk show and tell, here on the Car Boot Collectors YouTube channel. First video of the new year, the space year 2026. Car boot sales pretty much just about starting up around me, so hopefully we'll have a few car boot sale haul videos soon. I've been doing a few little things here and there, jumble sales. I haven't really found anything worth making a video on, so today's the first day of the year. I've found like a good little haul of bits I thought was interesting enough to waste my time making a video on. So yeah, let's get into it. So this stuff is from the flea market, the unnamed flea market, until I get a complimentary ticket. I don't know, there's no reason why they should. But anyway, yeah, from the flea market. This happens every couple of months or so. I've shown my hauls from this place in the past. It's a little bit between like a car boot sale and an antique fair. You get your specific dealers there that are selling like their thing. You know, mics, silver picture frames, limited. And then you get like your car booty type stalls and your house clearance type stalls. I generally find when it's the winter, until it gets warm and it's like definitely going to be sunny, you don't get as many sellers, which is obviously, you know, you'd expect that. Through the winter time, it's always generally like the same, you see the same people there, and to be completely honest, a lot of them with the same stuff. But it's always worth going. I always find a few bits. I always come away with a few treasures. So here we go, let's show you what we got. Yeah, all sorts of bits today. Toys, collectibles, random stuff. The sort of stuff, you know, that I pick up. And as I say, if you see something you like, you got your eye on, pretty much everything here will be up on my eBay shop at some point in the near future. If it doesn't get chucked into storage and forgotten about, it'll be up on there in the next couple of weeks. I've gotten better. I'm trying to get stuff up quickly. So see something you like, it'll be up there. You know where to find it. So yeah, you know, we're going to start with what I've got on the background here, because this is a pretty wacky background. This is really cool. This is a really nice decorative thing. So this is just like, this is from a factory. This is like an uncut tin sheet to make lids for this medicated rub called Babu medicated rub. As far as I can tell, it's like a sort of Tiger Balm Vicks vapor rub type product. I'd never heard of it, but it just really pops. It's bright yellow, it's bright red, just the repetition. It's a really big size. This is like nearly 3 foot by like 2.5 foot, so it's quite big. And I got three of them identical, so it covers a lot of wall space. This is good like man cavey garage decor. You know, maybe like a hipster pub, that sort of thing might want this type of thing. You know, just you go to Bristol, for example, you walk on into some bar or microbrewery called the Tinkerer's Apothecary, so to speak. You buy your £9 can of IPA that comes in a matte silver can with a paper label with some wacky printed characters on it. You go in the toilet and boom, these are on the wall. It would not look out of place. So yeah, you had a whole stack of these like tin sheets from this factory clearance, I assume. A lot of them were a bit boring. A lot of them were in bad condition. I think people had already picked over the best of them because these weren't very expensive. The ones that were quite nice that were left were all a bit tatty, or like, you know, half of them was rusted or just completely faded. So I picked up 3 of these. These weren't very expensive. Quite early on in the day, I was quite happy with those. I'll get them cleaned up just as is. Probably will sell them as a trio just because it looks cool as a 3. So that's that. Babu Rub tin lid sheets. Bit random, but pretty cool. We're going to go with this next, a bit of sporting memorabilia, just because I want to get it out the way, because it's really big and I don't know where else I'm going to show it otherwise. So we'll do it now while the mat is empty. This is a framed rugby jersey for Newport Rugby, season 2002-3, and it comes with a little sheet in there. It's presented to presumably a sponsor, and signed by a dude called Lurlane. I don't know how you say that. He's a known rugby man though, apparently in Wales. He's been about for quite a while. And yeah, just a rugby jersey professionally framed up. This was really inexpensive. I've got to be honest, I'd rather if it was just the jersey not framed, because when I get these framed displays, as much as they look nice, they're a bit of a pain to store, a bit of a pain to send out, and ultimately they aren't as desirable as just having like the jersey. So worst comes to the worst, I'll just take that out. It is an XL size, which is good for rugby jerseys in the vintage category. But yeah, rugby jersey framed up. Now that was quite a good little purchase, really. That was pretty much the first thing I think I found on the day. Okay, it's not much more to show. We've just got loads of little trinkets, really. It's a day of little trinkets. Maybe I'll just get it all out and then we'll go through it. And this is going to be a fairly short video by my standards. So yeah, let's do that. We're not messing around today. We're not having a half an hour video with a couple of bits. We're going to get through it. And then I've got the plane that you've seen already. That's pretty cool. And I've forgotten about this over here. I've got another big item that I completely forgot about, which is just off camera. So yeah, all sorts of little bits here. A little Wentworth jigsaw puzzle. The John Muir Trust, I think, is a book. So this is like a promotional one. Wentworth jigsaws, I've got to be honest, they don't sell as well as they used to. I still pick them up when they're cheap. I did actually see quite a few at the Flea, sort of around the £10 mark, which in years gone by I would have picked up. But I've got quite a few at the moment. They're not getting a whole lot of interest. I mean, we've just, you know, we're in winter. Usually jigsaws go quite well around now, but yeah, it seemed to have cooled off a little bit on these. They're really high quality. You get like shaped pieces. They're really nice. Some of the promotional ones can be worth a lot of money. Like there's some Terry Pratchett ones. There's some Fort Park ones. I don't know who the John Muir Trust is. I can't imagine this is worth mega money, but it was really cheap. And I've got to be honest, I don't mind doing a little jigsaw here and there. If if I've got a little pocket of time where I haven't got anything else to do, maybe I'm waiting for something to, whatever, perfect little time waster. So that was that. One of the few toys of today, Stellar Force Series 2. This is a Chap My figure. People call these bootleg figures. They're not really bootleg, they're more just sort of generic. You know, they're in the bootleg category, not really based on anything specific. I had a few of these back in the day. I think they're quite cool figures, really. And they have picked up a bit of a cult following over the past few years. Some of these are worth serious money, most of them aren't. Like most of them, if you want this specifically on card, might be quite hard to track down. Probably not worth a lot of money though. But yeah, Stellar Force Chap, I picked that up. That was another thing that was just chucked in a box under a table. Wasn't very expensive. I don't know if you can hear it. There's someone just screaming outside and somewhere. I hope that doesn't come through on the camera, just someone screaming. Yeah, what do we go next? This is really cool. This is an aircraft light cover. This guy was at the Flea probably about 6 months ago, and he had absolutely boxes full of salvaged aircraft parts. I'm talking like windows, light covers, like gauges, dials, instruments. And I did pick up a few different ones of these glass covers from him. I think they make quite good like display, you know, like a dome, you know, just for displaying something. I don't know, for example, say you could have a little, I don't know, like ship in the bottle vibe. That obviously doesn't work very well because it's not a plane thing, but maybe a little plane model. I don't know, they're cool, they're industrial looking. I've already got one identical, so now I've got a pair of them. Pretty cool. I like them. I think they're smart. That was that. He had loads more there, like different plain light covers, but they were all coloured, like red, yellow, and you obviously can't really display anything under that. So I only picked up that clear one. Had a dude there who had a lot of just inexpensive trinkets, like things that were all, clearly it was, I don't know if he was just clearing out stuff he'd had for ages, but this guy was just basically like, yeah, this is all really cheap. I don't want to go home with anything. And I picked up a few little bits from him. Just for the record, that's quite rare at the flea market. Most people, especially indoors, are specific dealers of something particular. So to get someone who is just like, yeah, this is all cheap, get rid of it, is a little bit of an unusual thing to find there. But yeah, this guy had all sorts of random stuff. This is like a fossilized cricket, apparently from Brazil. You can see it there. Not the sort of most clean example or specimen as it would be called, but it's quite cool, and it wasn't very expensive, and it's just a little bit interesting. I know someone who's her son is obsessed with Jurassic Park at the moment, and I thought if no one wants it, that might go to him. Just something a little bit different. It's not an ammonite, it's something a little bit unusual. So there's a little fossil. Also got a printing block with some kind of dirigible, might be a Zeppelin, do not know, some kind of airship, a little brass block on wood. These are quite common, like, you know, not specifically this one, but just in general, these printing blocks, there would have been a lot of them back in the day. They come up. But yeah, Zeppelin, there's a lot of interest in airships and stuff. And again, it was really cheap, so I picked that up. A little bit interesting. I've had these before, like with advertisements on bicycle ones, like Raleigh ones and that sort of thing. It depends on the subject matter, really, to what makes them more sought after. But yeah, that was like hardly any money at all. As was this. This is probably the best buy of the day, to be honest. This was an absolute steal. And yeah, really quite a nice item. So this is made by Alchemy, Alchemy Pewter. They made a lot of jewellery and stuff. I think they were quite popular in the 90s. I don't know if they continued into the noughties, but they made like jewellery, some like figurines, goblets, and this is obviously one of the goblets of this Grim Reaper pattern. All marked up underneath 1995, so it's quite an early one. There you go, Alchemy Pewter. And yeah, most of these are in the sort of £50 to £80 bracket, like used, loose, should come in like a presentation box. But some of them do go up to like a couple of £100, the right ones, the rarer ones, but they are all quite uncommon. And yeah, that was just sat on a £1 table of all places. That was one mere £1. Bargain. Great find that was. So yeah, that was one of the cheapest things of the day, one of the best things of the day, really. A whole tray of construction plant models. I'm not going to go through all these individually. I'm just going to give you a little vibe of them. I think these are all like, I want to say 187 scale, like 00 gauge, so you could use these for like a railway layout. They're a bit, you know, on the smaller side. A lot of Volvo vehicles here, excavators and other stuff. As you can see, someone's put weathering on these. They've painted all of this, you know, brown mud on them, which, if it's done right, does add value to construction models and farming models. But when it's done badly, it's, you know, the opposite. Some of them aren't too bad. That one hasn't been messed around with too much. These are all in pretty good condition. There's not much broken or missing from them. But it's just, as you can see, the weathering isn't too bad. The guy did tell me, though, it's water-based paint, so you can remove it quite easily. I don't know if I'll bother, but I might give it a go. If it's easy enough, we'll you know, try and remove it from them. But there's some quite nice models here by some good makers. There's some Oxford diecast here. There's some Northcott models, which is quite a good brand to find in the world of plant models. That's a Northcott model. You know, in hand, the weight of it compared to a comparable one, you can feel the weight in these ones. They're very heavy for a little thing, and the detail's really good. So yeah, he had those. To be honest, they weren't massively expensive anyway. I think he wanted £4 each, and he did do me a deal for all of them. I was sort of umming and ahhing. I was looking at them thinking, there's a few here I'd buy, there's a few I probably wouldn't buy. It's probably worth buying all of them, but I don't know if I can be bothered. And then we settled on a deal that was quite good for both of us. So we got a nice little deal on that, as you can see. It's quite a lot of stuff. Some quite nice models. There's some CQ stuff, some NZG stuff like that. Some good makes. Just a shame that they're all a bit messed around with. I'd rather have them sort of factory condition. He told me that when he got them, these were all glued to a big layout, like a railway layout, and that's why they're all mucky. There isn't actually any glue on any of them, but he said they were on a big layout, so that's the condition of them. That's that. Only got a couple more things to show now. As I said, this is a short one today. We've got a big tin plane here. I do love the plane models, as you guys know. We've got a Boeing 727. This is made by Masudaya. This is Japanese tin toy, battery operated from the 60s. A lot of their stuff that was made for export is branded as modern toys. So you see that there, the MT modern toys, that is Masudaya. I would imagine it's probably to do with, you know, obviously these were made not that long after World War II. A lot of companies did change their name for export stuff. A lot of people wouldn't buy Japanese products or vehicles. But yeah, this Japanese tin toy Boeing 727, it is complete, but you will notice the wings are very, very rusty. It's a bit rusty underneath. It's not in the best condition, but it is complete and it displays well. You could probably have a go at cleaning that up. I don't know if it would look much better. But this is quite a rare toy. These, you know, Japanese like airliners, you don't tend to see them, and when you do, they're always battered. Wasn't a bad price on this one. The guy wanted 40. He was quite firm on that. Did end up getting it for 35. I looked at it early on and I was a bit like, oh, I can take it or leave it, but if it's still there at the end, I'll go and have a little haggle. And that is what we did. 35 quid, which is quite a good deal. I mean, it's probably worth 100 quid thereabouts. If it was nicer shape, would be a fair bit more, but it's not too bad. As you can see, it displays well. All of the text is complete. The colour's not too bad, so that was okay. That was one of the nicer things picked up. A little bag of patches. There's only one in here I wanted, and to be honest, it's hardly worth having. So as you can see, these were priced up at 3 quid. I said, would you sell one separately? They were like, no. And I was like, well, in that case, would you take 2 quid? And everyone was like, don't you think it's cheap enough already? I was like, yeah, it is, but I only want one of them. And then she was like, yeah, fine, have it for 2 quid. So RNLI one, common badge, worth basically nothing. We've got, is that Bass Charrington? Again, hardly any value to it. Next to Sex I Love, my Suzuki Best. The one I wanted is this one, just because it's local interest. We've got Abbeytown Breakers of Sherborne. This is probably like 70s, 80s era. I don't think this business is still operating. But yeah, fairly local to me is Sherborne. It's people that collect local interest stuff. And it's in that sort of transportation car collector area as well. It's the sort of thing that will either sell immediately or never. There's no in between. So yeah, I mean, if it had been on its own for 2 quid, I would have wanted it. But yeah, the woman didn't want to sell it separately. And I've got these other badges that will probably find their way in a job lot somewhere. So that was that. This one's cool. We've only got 2 things left. Let's go with this one. This is quite interesting. A topic you don't really see a lot of figurines, sculptures for. We've got a horse racing sculpture, Kato Star, apparently quite a popular horse, famous horse. I'm not really into horse racing, so it's not something I'm too familiar with. But this is like a really big, detailed sculpture. I mean, that's like probably about 10 inches tall, quite heavy. Limited edition of only 500. So there's not many of these kicking around. Made by a company called Racehorse Sculptures. So there you go, limited of 500. It's quite comparable to like a Border Fine Arts figurine. It's in that sort of area. The quality's really good. It is a really nice thing. Unfortunately, there's a little tiny bit of damage on it. Odd. They said like, yo, how much is this? The guy was like, oh, I don't know really. It's one of them people who just start spinning a massive yarn that goes nowhere, going, oh, I don't know really, oh, I got that for a present, I don't know how much it's worth, I don't know what I want to ask for. And he ended up just saying 35 quid. And he was like, it's in perfect condition. And I looked it over, I thought, if I'm going to buy it for that, I want it to be in good nick. And he was like, yeah, it's perfect condition. And I said, that but there's broken. And he was like, I don't think it is. I said, it's very clearly broken and been glued badly. You know, very badly. It doesn't even line up properly. And he was like, oh, yeah, I broke that. I repaired it myself. And I was like, well, you just said it was perfect condition, you bloody idiot. So yeah, we did a bit of haggling. I got it a little bit lower. It's a shame that's broken because that will probably put people off buying it. but a nice item nonetheless. A really nice thing. Horse racing memorabilia. You get a lot of things like badges and race cards and booklets, but when it comes to like tangible figurines, displayable items, there isn't much of that to go around. So to get something that's very nice quality, that is like a big displayable thing, hopefully will be quite a popular item. So yeah, last item, we're on to the last item here. We've got a whole, that was loud, a whole bag of Honda Goldwing memorabilia. We've got some ephemera, some badges. So yeah, we'll just go through this quickly. Yeah, really like this. I just thought this was a really nice collection. It's always appealing to buy a collection of something, because you're always going to have one or two things in there that someone's probably after. Like, it's just how it goes. I don't know anything specifically about Honda Goldwing badges, but I know enough about things to know that there's probably someone out there that collects this specifically, and there's probably a few things in here that they're going to go nuts to own. So we've got an owner's manual, Honda GL 1000. A license plate, apparently off the bike. I don't know if it actually is. I don't think it's very easy to actually find it out. But we've got the license plate there. Manual for a Honda CB radio. And then just a whole stack of so-on badges. There's a few duplicates, but most of them are different. A little unused vintage sticker there. Cycles have equal rights, Wisconsin Department of Transport. A little business card there for some custom bike shop in Florida. And then, yeah, loads of badges all over the world, different owners clubs for the Honda Goldwing. So loads of it. And then some really nice enamel badges. They do find with these sort of things like these sort of motorbike rally badges that a lot of people, they only really want the ones for events they've been to. So even if it's a rarer one, that doesn't necessarily mean anyone really wants it. But yeah, some of these are for events, some of them are quite generic. And there's a couple of quite generic logo ones there. So yeah, I mean, that bag was, again, another one where I asked how much it was. And the guy was like, oh, I don't really know, really. Oh, I know it's quite collectible. I've looked on eBay. And then eventually it gave a price, and it was really reasonable. So we took it. And yeah, that's it. That's it for today. That's it from the Flea. Nothing really too mad, nothing too much to write home about, but a few interesting little bits and pieces. I thought it was worth making a video to show you. Hopefully you agree. Thank you very much for watching. As I say, we're getting into the car boot season now. It's getting into spring, so should be some more car booty haul videos on the horizon. So stay tuned. See you soon.